And you're live on YouTube.
All right, just turn me up a little on my mic. I can't see myself yet on YouTube.
Might take a second, but it's there.
All right, here we go, everybody live around the world. We are on the YouTube. Welcome, 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 everybody, to another episode of Coffee with Goughy, which is now Matcha with Paul. We're gonna have to. Is Matcha a tea? Actually, isn't it? It's not even a coffee anymore.
Yeah. I think you can put coffee in it, though.
So I think that's called a dirty matcha, from what I've been told. I am a connoisseur of this stuff now. I think we have obliterated Coffee with Goughy. I've killed my own show. It's now a Matcha with Paul. How's about that? That means we need a new logo, a green. And I do, I went away thinking about it the other night, that actually it makes sense that we have more focus on the green stuff. I do genuinely believe that this podcast is better in Matcha with Paul because it's about the green stuff. The coffee was about waking you up, whereas the green stuff is about just making enough of the green stuff that we can kind of have fun and do what we want in our life. So type into the chat, hello everybody. The Royal Treatment Physio has just joined. I read your book. Which one did you read? Hayden Bedwell, number 2. Hayden, are you Hayden Bedwell the second by any chance, or would somebody already pinch your handle? The green stuff is good. Can we all agree that the green stuff is good? Type into the chat. As long as we're all talking about the same green stuff, that's what matters the most. Charles X, Jonathan, and invite. Who's this? I love it. I love Instagram. Somebody's got a title handle, married woman. It says. It says. I'm not lying. Invite married women to join as a guest. Oh, no, that's not a handle. What the fuck? Is this what TikTok does? No, I don't go on this shit. Literally it says, invite married women to join as a
that means
guest.
They're trying to get in.
Is this your profile by any chance? Is this you logging in? Huh? Come on. I can't be inviting married women as guests. That's you. Have you done this? Have you set these? Is this the algorithm working?
That's the algorithm, yeah.
Invite Skylar Clayton to join as a guest. To Sell is Healthy is the book. Oh, fantastic. We love it. Type into the chat when you come in on the Instagram, on Facebook, on the YouTube, wherever you are around the world. We are back with another episode. And I'm loving it right now. It feels like there's just some wonderful things happening in the world and in the community. I get it. It's not that easy out there right now for PTs in private practice. There's a general malaise around the world of patients who want to spend money on their health. Obviously, there's all sorts of shit happening around the world, and we respect all of that, but we have to deal with it and we have to tackle it. But there's just some good energy. I love the community that we've got and that we're close to. We just try to see things differently. We try to see life differently, a bit more positively, despite what's happening around the world. So it's just wonderful. I've no other words right now. Wonderful to be here, and thanks for listening again. We appreciate you, dear listener. We're live in Orlando, in Florida. There's a huge thunderstorm just taking. It hasn't rained for a few days, has it?
Yeah, it's been pretty nice.
It's been beautiful here in Orlando. Hot, mind you, the last few days. Do you think you could ever go through a day in Florida without saying it's hot?
Probably not.
Man, it's hot. What do you say? Man, it's hot.
Yeah, it's
Do you like my American accent? Man, it's hot. Yeah, my kids have better American accents than I do. Dude and awesome is about as far as I go. So yeah, we're going to get into it. And again, a reminder to you, tomorrow, August 14th is a huge day. Why is it a huge day? Because PPM Live waitlist opens officially tomorrow, August the 14th. And we're excited. I like that, right? I feel that. So the tagline of PPM Live is officially, I feel the need for marketing. Do you like that?
I like it.
So the other famous line, I don't know if you've got it, is talk to me, Goose.
Oh, you know what? I had that one and I unclipped it. Yeah, I'll play a few that I got.
That is the one. Talk to me, Goose. And do you know what it's going to be?
I got that one.
Talk marketing to me, Paul.
I got a few good ones. Let's see.
You don't have time to think up there. If you think, you're dead.
There you go.
Yep. Your ego is writing checks your body can't cash.
Can't cash. That's the one. That's the famous line.
And the last one I got is...
Hang on. What was that one again?
Son, your ego is writing checks your body can't
cash. That's right. Your ego is writing checks that your body can't cash. Yeah.
That's good.
Here we go. Your marketer is writing checks that your business can't cash right now. Or Google is writing checks that your business can't cash. I'm going to have some fun with that one. We need that one. Put that one on.
I got that one. This is the last one I got.
Okay. I don't like you because you're dangerous. That's right. Nice, man. I am dangerous.
I like that. I'm going to have a lot of fun with these clips over the next few weeks.
And I also finally got your...
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. An acknowledgement of King Charles himself. Yes. Thank you very much. It's about time that we recognised England on this podcast. So we should, do you know what we should do? We should have an anthem for everybody. We were talking to somebody in Pakistan recently. Can we get the Pakistani national anthem, please, for the next time? Cool. Right? I'm serious. If somebody wants to talk to me in this chat and they're zooming in all the way from Pakistan, I think we should acknowledge them with a national anthem. Everybody's anthem except Scotland and the French. I'm not doing a French anthem and I ain't doing a Scottish anthem, right? I'll draw the line at Canada. We'll do a Canadian anthem. I quite like Canadians. I do. I like... They don't like spending money, but I do like Canadians as a general rule. Right, what we got going on here? We got the Royal Treatment Physio. I'm married. Oh, he's married, so we can't invite him onto TikTok. Oh, he can? No, we can invite you. In North Carolina, now in Oak Island, relaxing for a week. Good for you. Fantastic. What else is going on? Matty Bird 04, Philip Petter Itch has joined as well. Corey's joined. Good. We're building up a wonderful community, and thank you to everybody. We like to have some fun on this podcast, and I hope you've realised that I just think the world is grim, right? Like, the world is just grim, and like, people are too serious, and you can tell they're struggling with life because they're too serious, right? And that's the biggest, the biggest sign of somebody who's struggling with life. They take it too seriously. Like, there's a fakeness to them in terms of their seriousness because it's covering up their insecurities, and that's one of the best and most profound things that I've ever learned. How to spot somebody who's struggling with life. They take everything too seriously, and unfortunately the majority of the people are too serious, which is why most people are kind of telling you that they're struggling with life. So PPM and Top Gun themed, inspired, we're going to call it Top Gun inspired so I don't get sued or anything like that. Like, it's actually nothing to do with Top Gun in any way, shape or form. Like, it's what's the phrase, we need some kind of thing at the end where it goes, any likenesses are purely coincidental. Yes?
That's good.
Do you like that? Yeah. So we should have that. Any likenesses to the Top Gun movie, if Paul is dressed in anything that resembles Top Gun or Tom Cruise, it is purely coincidental. Please don't sue me, right? It's why we've called it Highway to the Profit Zone. It's our own take on it. And we want you to be there because I just feel like you should be making more money than you are. Whoever you are and however rich you are, I just feel like you should be making more money. And I am the biggest fan, and I mean this with every breath in my body, the biggest fan of small business owners, to the point where I have very little political opinion, right, generally, as much as I poke fun at it all. I think the only point of politicians is to poke fun at them, right? There's nothing that I take seriously with that lot, any of them, left or right. And if anybody ever asked me sort of, my political opinion, and whoever it would be, left or right, up or down, like wherever you are in the world, I'd always support anybody that supports small businesses, and anybody that would support small businesses, and anybody that makes it harder for small businesses, I venomously detest. And I have very little kind of anger in me, but I venomously detest anybody that wants to hurt or make it harder for small businesses, because I know and appreciate the shit that you go through on a daily basis, from a risk-taking point of view, from a obstacles point of view that you're dealing with, from the unpredictableness, from the having to explain to your family why you're still there at midnight and why you're on holiday with a laptop and everybody else is in bed and you're at breakfast on your own, responding to emails because you're trying to get your business off the ground, talking to a bank manager to increase the line of credit so you can pay wages tomorrow. I've been there, seen it and done it, and I realize it's a super, super, super human effort to be successful in business, especially when a family comes along and you've got all of the responsibilities and kind of time commitments, emotionally, physically, practically, to children and a wife or a husband and just extended family that you have to deal with as well. So you are Superman, Superwoman, in my opinion, in anything that I can ever do to make your life easier. I'm your biggest cheerleader and your biggest fan, and that's my life, and it has been for a long, long time. That I couldn't wish to be doing any other job. If I would do this for absolute just love, and I do the podcast, right? I don't really make any money on the back of sitting here for an hour every day, other than that we hope that we inspire at least one more person every time we come on live, and just help them to understand that they're not on their own. It's not just happening to them, whether you're in North Carolina today, whether you are in Pakistan, whether you are in Lagos, whether you are in Faro in Portugal, whether you're in New York, London, Hartlepool, Sunderland, Newcastle, Toronto, wherever. This stuff isn't just happening to you. This is the deal of being a small business owner, and it's why being part of a community is so important to you, and being involved in networking, and not these bullshit B&I meetings where everybody gives out business cards and sticks their keys in the middle of the room and fucking dances around it and all that stuff. It like real business environments where people are really making decisions similar to you, similar aspirations to you. There's nothing more important for a business owner than that. So where are we at? Thursday. We're heading into the weekend. I have 2 birthdays this weekend. I have a 7-year-old's birthday tomorrow, and I have a 10-year-old. I've got another 10-year-old in the house on Sunday. Grayson's birthday tomorrow, and Toby. I've started to call him Toby recently, which is quite fun. Tobias's birthday, my little pocket rocket, his birthday is on Sunday. So I don't know. I don't know where the time goes, and that's what I would tell you. If you're not careful, you'll blink, you'll look, and you'll be like, holy shit, he's 10, he's 7. It's special. It's very, very special. So don't be too busy building this business and not have any time for these children and beautiful people in your life. So that's my little message before we get into it. Anyway, so what we got today, Mr. Producer, we've had some electric topics recently. We've had Elon caused a little bit of controversy on the podcast. I've had some complaints about that one. And what was the one before? Sophie. I don't think I've had anything yet about Sophie. I don't know whether people are kind of, they're just, leaving that one politically sensitive, whatever. But Elon seems to fire up a few thoughts and comments, and just people very quick to have an opinion on that podcast. That's for sure. So if you haven't listened to the Sophie Cunningham podcast, go back and do it. But the Elon one seems to have been the one that's got a few people talking, that's for sure. So where are we going today?
All right, we got North Carolina today.
No, we're back in North Carolina.
Yep,
there we go.
Yep.
Okay.
Josh Anderson.
Do you know, I love North Carolina. And I go back and forth over if I was rich enough to have a second home, or what would be the right phrase? If my dreams, my real kind of, desire or whatever it might be, if I really wanted to set my mind to it, that I wanted a second home, there you go, that's the better answer. If I really wanted to set my mind to it that I wanted a second home in America, it would be on a lake in North Carolina, I believe. Somewhere like Lake Norman. I'm sure they're nice up in Michigan where you are, but I don't like the idea of a frozen lake for 9 months of the year. So
I think my mom's looking at it. She would like to be in North Carolina.
Beautiful part of the world. I do love the culture and the slow-paced life and just the cuisine and the people and the lakes. And yeah, I do. I love it up there.
All right. Here we go. Josh Anderson. I'm taking my 12 staff to Cracker Barrel for lunch. 2 are refusing because they say eating there conflicts with their values, and now they're trying to persuade the others not to go. Do I accommodate them or tell them lunch is at 12?
Lunch is at 12. Lunch is at 12. And this matters not that it's Cracker Barrel or any other restaurant or coffee shop or store that you or one of your employees has a conflicting opinion on than you. It matters not. Now let me unravel this, because this is the type of nonsense again that we're dealing with more and more and more. And I'll back up by saying that the opinion of the 2 isn't nonsense. That's absolutely valid, and I love that they have an opinion on it. That the business owner's job is to consider such a level of harmony is required and needed in the business is not true. The business owner has a hard enough time bringing in patients, paying bills, dealing with expenses, and all of the things required of a successful business, to throw into the mix that we've got 2 members of staff out of 12 who are creating a little bit of a mutiny about going to Cracker Barrel for lunch that I suspect he's probably paying for, or she is. Who, is it a guy?
Yeah, it's a guy. It's Josh Anderson.
Josh is actually paying for. I again, in another life, I think these types of things would have been frankly absurd. But in today's life, they are becoming more and more common, that people feel like everybody has to support their view. And we somehow think we're making a stance by not having pancakes at a restaurant, right? This is the bit that I can't get my head around, that I'm not going to go there and somehow I'm going to affect world change because of me not eating pancakes in a restaurant. But what I would want to know is, when did eating pancakes become an endorsement, right, of like a world view? Like when did it get to the point where I'm not going to eat in that restaurant, or I'm not going to do this? And even though all of my colleagues are going to go, I'm going to make such a stance that I'm not going to have pancakes or whatever I'm going to have with my team. And this is the bit that gets me now, that like everybody's expecting everybody to make exceptions for them. And we've come and are now in a world where the gap is getting so big that it's almost impossible to please anybody. And this is why my instinct was, you go to Cracker Barrel. Because the minute that we start to kind of factor in everybody in this company, could you imagine if we did it, right, where in 20 odd staff, we're going to this restaurant, right, but if you don't like it, let me know. And I'd get 2 say, well, no, I'm not going because, and 3 would say, I'm not going because of this, and 2, okay, cool, like that's fine. If you don't want to come, you don't come. But what we can't do as a business is sit down and go, well, let's find a restaurant that we all agree on, right? And this is where I'm getting at. And this is the leadership that's required today, that I'm able to respect your view that you might not like Cracker Barrel for whatever reason. And I get that and I respect that. But it's not my job as a business owner to create an accommodation for everybody for a lunch that's on me, that I'm going to pay for, just to say thank you to everybody. I can't do that. And I had an exercise once in my office that helped me through a situation like this years ago. And I sat down everybody in my physio business 15 years ago, maybe 12, 15 years ago, because this was starting to happen where everybody would have an opinion. And actually what it was about was how somebody would speak to somebody. So one of the members of staff wasn't happy how somebody spoke. And I'm guilty of this, where I'm very abrupt, I'm very direct, and I'm quick. When I ask for something to be done, I'm very quick. I think quickly, and I speak quickly, and I act quickly. Like, that's who I am. That's in my nature. So at first, when I've got 2 members of staff, I might be thinking about how that's coming across, because I've got the time. And I can worry about how Jason thinks about me and how he interprets me and all these types of things. But when I've then got 15 staff, what I can't do is approach every situation and wonder how I might be interpreted for speaking fast, because some of the staff don't mind it, and some of the staff just actually like it, and some of the staff didn't like it. So I sat down with everybody because, and again, I'm going back 10 or 15 years ago, and the world wasn't as emotional or demanding as it is today. And this was becoming a problem in the office, not necessarily for me, but other members of staff who didn't like how another member of staff spoke. So I sat down and I said, look, I've got an exercise for you. I want you to write down the word summer, S-U-M-M-E-R. And what I want you to do is write down underneath summer all of the things that you associate with summer. And I left them for a couple of minutes. And I went back and I said, okay, you go first, Vicky, you go next, Jess, you go first, next, Becky, and you go next, Johnny, etc., right? And everybody came up with a different version of what's summer. And some people said barbecue, some people said holidays, some people said sunshine, some people said go to the park, some people said going to the beach, whatever, right? Everybody had a different version of summer. And I said, can you see what you've all done? You've all confirmed that you all have a completely different interpretation of the same one single thing. Summer doesn't care what you think of it. You've decided what you want summer to mean to you. And I think now we've crossed a line, and we're in a world where nobody is actually offending you now, right? If I say something, I firmly believe I'm not offending you. You are taking offense. Because I could have this podcast, and the Elon podcast might have offended somebody. So what you call Sophie Cunningham podcast could have, right, irritated somebody. Now, have I irritated you, or did you take offense? Because I put that same podcast up, and 80% of the people loved it. 10% of the people will go out of their way to tell me that they really loved it by sending an email, bumping into me at an event and say, Paul, I loved what you said about Sophie Cunningham. And 10% of people will go, Paul, I stopped listening to your podcast because of Sophie Cunningham. You offended me. You offended my view. And I'll just say, I didn't offend you at all. You chose to be offended by that. Your interpretation of it is what caused an emotional, visceral reaction in you, because I could show you 9 other people out of 10 that didn't get offended by the exact same words. So it isn't what I said, it's what you said. And increasingly more and more, we live in a world where people take offense. They're not offended, they choose to take offense. So I'll break it all down. And again, this is up to you how you take this, dear listener, because I'm about to give you either the ability to be powerless or to live with power, whichever one you want. Because if I've been offended, I'm powerless. Do you follow? If I have been offended, that means I'm powerless. I had no consideration over how I felt about what you said. And the reality is I do, over everything that anybody says about me. And if I choose not to be offended by what you said, I live with power. So which one do you want? And now, the majority of the world is so piss weak and so insecure and so volatile and so irrational and can't even see past any other concept than I feel like shit, so you must be responsible, Paul, or whoever. You made me feel this way. I'm very sorry I didn't. I said something that triggered an emotional response in you that you have learned to condition yourself with and choose to be feeling a certain way as a result of what's said. You chose to be offended. The next person didn't. It has nothing to do with me, what you think. If I want to take my staff to Cracker Barrel and 2 people don't want to come and they are offended at the idea of us having pancakes at Cracker Barrel, that has nothing whatsoever to do with me. And I'm very happy for you that you have such a strong opinion on Cracker Barrel and dining in Cracker Barrel that you don't want to go. I'm very, very happy that you choose to live like that, because you've obviously got such high morals and standards, and that's how you want to live. And I'm fully supportive of that. But the idea that you want me to change dinner plans for everybody in this restaurant or everybody in this office because of your views of Cracker Barrel ain't happening, sweetheart, love, guy, girl, whoever. Simply because if I start down that track, I do not have a life. I literally don't have a life as a leader, because what it'll open up is a massive can of worms that says, your definition of summer, please. And everybody in the office will have completely different definitions of summer. And I'll be sat there going, holy shit. Not one person in my team wants to ever do anything. Nobody can agree on anything. And we all have completely different versions of everything that I suggest. And nobody ever wants to do any of it because they're all now allowed their own opinions on it. And you are allowed your own opinions on it. You absolutely are. But my job as the leader of the business is to decide whether or not that's a detriment to the culture, to the harmony, to the how I want to build the business. And ultimately, more importantly than any of that bullshit, how I want to lead this company. Because that's my absolute prerogative, and that's yours, Mr. or Mrs. Business Owner, and always will be forever and a day. That you choose how you want to run that business. And if people don't like how you want to run it, that's absolutely fine. Maybe they will leave, and maybe they should leave if they're so highly strung, and maybe that your life might actually be a little bit better without these people in it, occasionally. And I'm not saying purely because of Cracker Barrel. I'm saying that occasionally we've got people around us who have opinions on everything, and they're like a little fucking hen pecking away at you all day, every day. I go for a coffee in the morning about 6 o'clock, and there's this little woodpecker pecking away all day long on the fucking trees. And every fucking 20 seconds, he seems to be a bit irritated because he bashes the tree for about a minute. I'm like, fucking hell, his head must hurt. But then I think that's how most business owners must feel all day, every day. They must feel like the tree, right? That this fucking woodpecker is just pecking all day, every day. And then you go home on a night and you think, What did I do today? Did I actually focus any of my time, effort, and attention on building and growing a business? Or did I just get my head pecked all day, every fucking day? And I suspect that for the majority of business owners, it feels like Woody Woodpecker himself is literally tapping away at the forehead of the business owner all day, every day. And that's because the business owner chooses to allow this type of stupidity to come into their life. And that's my opinion on it. That the business owner is often thinking that by being nice to everybody and creating harmony and giving everybody choices of where they want to eat and what they want to do and what should we do for our Christmas party and what should we do for this and I don't want to do that and I don't like this company. Good fucking luck in today's society. Get a set of balls, decide what you're doing, decide how you want to live, decide what you think is right and fair and reasonable, because by the way, as a leader of a company, you have a prerogative to do that. One of the biggest and best leadership mistakes, believing that a healthy culture means everybody has to have the same values about everything. That is so wrong. It is untrue that we have to have the same values about everything. And this is the bullshit when you watch the movies about Google and Facebook and they all talk about having perfect culture and bring your dogs to work on a Tuesday day and ping pong day on a Saturday and all these little breakfast fucking bars when they all get there, which means none of them do any work and all this type of shit that's been going on. Small business owners watching that are thinking, well, we all have to get on and we all have to be best friends and we all have to have everything the same. And you absolutely categorically do not. You have to have one shared mission, whatever the big ultimate outcome is of the business, because if we achieve that, everybody else gets taken care of underneath it. Somehow, some way, over the last 10, 15, 20 years, everybody's been allowed to think that they can have an opinion and a say on everything and that they have to get what they want because they said it and because that's how they believe. And that's why we've got such a fractioned society, fractioned businesses, fractioned families, fractioned schools, fractioned everything. Everywhere we look, it is fractioned because this is now how people think that they're allowed. And do you know why? And what's happening is because the same people who don't want to go to Cracker Barrel, this is what fucks them off. The same people who won't go to Cracker Barrel, the two members of staff, I guarantee you will be social media addicts. They will be addicted to social media like a chain smoker is to nicotine. And what is happening is these addicts, let's call them, will go home on a night and they'll put their own social media on and they'll see some version of an echo chamber that convinces them that their view of the world is the perfect view of the world and everybody else's view of the world is wrong. And then the next day when they put up a little fight about not wanting to go to Cracker Barrel, it's like a little toddler who's thrown his pacifier out of the pram or the pushchair or the crib and can't work out why he can't get it back. Why isn't the world dancing to his tune? Why is nobody doing exactly what they thought they would, like everybody does on social media for them? They interact so much with social media that they become addicted to it, and all of this see is a world that they see. And then when they have to go back to the real world and they have to interact with people from different religions, different colours, different backgrounds, different views, different beliefs, they cannot handle the fact that other people don't see the world as they do. So they retreat back to the world, and what they'll do, these two members of staff, they'll post on Instagram and they'll post on the Facebook about how bad this business owner is and how bad this boss is, that they had the audacity to want to have lunch and provide it for free at Cracker Barrel. And all of a sudden, 17 people who are in the exact same echo chamber as these addicts will all say, this is disgraceful. How dare your boss? He should have some consideration and blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden, these members of staff are even more pissed off. They're pissed that they have to not necessarily even go to Cracker Barrel, but they're pissed that it was ever even considered because all of these other addicts on social media have told them that they shouldn't have to because this is the best version of the world that they see. And more and more and more, this is the story of most people's lives. Social media has created addicts, and they've created these little worlds online that have you believe, because you're inside of it that much, like a gamer, like a little 12-year-old playing fucking Minecraft or whatever on a night. They actually believe that that's the world and how it exists. And everything inside of this little world is perfect for them as long as they're on Instagram. And then when these addicts, these grown men and women, make their way to work, and the one thing that separates them or is different from this little world that they've seen online happens to them, they simply can't handle it, and they become like little fucking toddlers, little schoolboys and girls who've been told that they can't have TV, or they've had their fucking phone taken off them. A teenager had their phone taken off them. And this is grown-ass adults in society in 2026 and how they behave. And you can thank social media for it, there's no doubt whatsoever, but you can also blame adults because it's their actions, their behaviours for creating these little Minecraft worlds, these perfect little worlds where everything's right and their virtues are amazing and their view of the world is better than anybody else's. And this is both ways, by the way. This is left, it's right, it's up, it's down. The people are creating these worlds that are so perfect that when they step outside of this online world to go to the real world and they have to interact with somebody from a different background, a different religion, a different culture, a different political view, heaven forbid that somebody has a different political view to them, they simply do not know how to act. And you see the child in them come out. And this is an example of this shit that's going on. Is there anything this is literally how now society is, and it will get worse, and it is getting worse because more and more people are becoming miserable, isolated, unable to deal with anything other than the perfect fucking world that they've created online. And I actually think the more I talk about this and talk it out, this is why you're seeing more and more people, they're just recluses. They don't go anywhere, they don't do anything. I've just been in the summer in England. Nobody goes anywhere. They don't do anything, nobody wants to go out. They can't handle it because the idea that they go to a world that might not be as perfect as the one that they've created for themselves online, and this kind of illusion of how life is, they can't handle it because they go out and they go to a bar, they go to a restaurant, they see something, they overhear somebody next to them who likes Trump or who doesn't like Trump, whatever, right? And it's their contrary opinion. They don't know how to deal with it. And there's just a tension and there's a frustration and it's an irritant to them. So they just go, do you know what? I'm going to stay at home. And so what I'll do is I'll just compound my view of the world, and the current view of the world I've got even more. So I actually will become more of a recluse, and I'll become even harder to live with and deal with. And I'll become more of a pain in the ass for the next boss that I work for. And I better hope that he doesn't like Cracker Barrel. I better. That's where we're at. You do have the right, by the way, to decide where you spend your money. I get that. And I absolutely love that. And this is what I get. This is where I go. You've got the right to decide not to come. And the rest of the company doesn't have to organise around where you personally spend money. If you don't like spending money in Cracker Barrel, don't fucking go to your free meal that your boss has spoken to or is offering it to you. But here's the magic in all of this, and this is the bit that'll knock most people out. The 2 who don't go, don't go. The other 10 who do go, go. Can you all behave like adults after? If I was this boss, I would do this just to find that out. And I wouldn't care about the consequences. If I took you to a restaurant, how did the 2 who stayed behind react when the 10 who went came back? That to me would tell me whether I've got adults or whether I've got spoilt little toddlers who are so emotionally inept that are triggered by anything and take offence to everything. And fine, have your opinion on Musk, on Cunningham, on transgender, on whoever, right? Whatever. But how do you react when somebody has a different opinion to you? That is the measure of the quality of your life. And you know what? I've never said that before, but it's fucking good. That the quality of your life will be measured on your ability and how you react to somebody who has a conflicting opinion and view of the world than you. And I put it to you, the ones who can't handle that, they have the shittiest lives. And as you listen to this and you close your eyes and you drive, well, hopefully don't drive your car, but whatever, close your eyes and just envisage the most unhappy people that you know. I suspect I've just summed them up in this podcast. And equally, find the happiest people that you know. You probably don't know their opinions on anything. They couldn't give a shit. I wrote about this in my book, Extraordinary Achievement. The most unhappy people are unhappy because they've created rules for themselves. And the happiest people are the happiest because they don't have any rules. And if you think about life and how it works, you're pissed when somebody violates a rule that you've created, right? You must treat me like this. You must agree to do this. You must do this. You must not go to Cracker Barrel. You must not have Starbucks, or you must not do whatever because of some infringement on somebody's rights or whatever it'll be, right, that you've come up with. These are all rules that you create. And the more of these rules that you've got, and they're typically what you find is an unhappy person is unhappy because of the rules they've created, but then they think, well, I must need a few more rules. You must need to like my post within 3 minutes, otherwise you're not my friend. That's a rule. How many people, and again, I'm not joking, Jay, how many people do you think will be pissed at their friends because they didn't like the post within 5 minutes? A lot. And I'm not even in your generation, right? It's as predictable as clockwork that this is how it works. That there will be a message sent in a DM, what's up, why not liking my post, have I done something wrong? It's like, what the fuck? And the other person at the other end is like, gee, I've been busy. But this person's created a rule. If that doesn't happen, you're a bad person, makes them unhappy. And the more of these rules you've got, the more unhappy you will be. The less of these rules you've got, the happier you will be. And it's the exact same thing here. What you're finding is that people are adding more and more rules, of which I'm not going to Cracker Barrel is one. I don't care what anybody thinks. That is a rule that somebody's creating. And then fine. If it violates your beliefs and views that much, then don't go. But I suspect what we'll find elsewhere in your life is more of the same rules, and you'll have a fucking laundry list of them, and that's why they're unhappy. And the guy that's just a joy to joy, comes in every day, is not really fighting with anybody, happy about life, embracing it, making progress, great relationships with his kids, her kids, great relationship with husband, wife, fantastic, just enjoying life and embracing it. I will guarantee you that they have the least amount of rules than anyone you know. There we go. All right, what else?
All right.
Are we going to Cracker Barrel?
Yeah, let's do it. Free meal?
As long as it's free.
Hey, I'm going with left, right. It don't matter.
Ain't give a shit as long as it's free. Yeah. You're walking with a Joe Biden hat on as long as it's free. Is that what you're saying?
Let me get a 2-piece, man. I don't care.
Yeah, let's go. As long as it's free, you'll sell your soul to the devil. There we go. I get it. Yeah. Who do you want me to be? I'll go. Yeah.
All right, we got Tacoma, Washington.
Tacoma.
My 20-year-old...
Sounds cold. I don't know why, but that just sounds cold. Tacoma.
No, it definitely is cold. Yeah, it's cold.
Yeah, fuck that. I've been up there a few times. Do you know, I'm coming to the conclusion, I don't think I'll ever go beyond Texas or Atlanta in the winter, like ever again. I don't understand why people live in these... I'm struggling to understand why people live in cold places. And I know what they say, I like the 4 seasons. Well, I like the 4 seasons. I just check into the hotel and leave a couple of days later, right? That's the only 4 seasons I like. Anyway, go.
All right. My 28-year-old therapist has better clinical skills than my 55-year-old therapist, but patients only want to book with the other one for their years of experience.
Ooh.
So booking with the older one. How do I get these patients to trust a fresh face?
Wow. I've had this. Wow, this is a great question. I've had this a few times in my clinic where people associate age with good. They associate years in business with good. And largely it's a result of marketers, because bad marketers will always default to years in business. So if you ever see a business that's like, hey, 25 years, 3 generations, they are usually very shit at marketing. They've got some money to spend, and an ad agency will say, hey, let's lean into the fact that you've been in business for 25 years. They don't know who their client is. You don't know what their USP is. They don't really know what they do, right? Like, they just know that they've been in business for 25 years. And to a degree, I can't remember exactly what level, but I learnt this years ago. And the sort of credentials, there's 5 levels of persuasion. And the first one is, we exist, you should call us. The second one is, we exist, here's my address and telephone number, you should call us. And the third one is, we exist, here's my telephone number, I've been in business for 15 years, now you should definitely call me. And I think it's about the third level of sort of persuasion, that when you start to throw in time served, it's about the third level of persuasion. But in the end, everybody kind of defaults to that we have been a family-run business for 21 years or whatever. So the world has become conditioned to, in the absence of any other reason to hire you or say yes, can I find time served as the thing? Yes, right? Now we all associate, and it's a bit like getting on an airplane. I do actually feel a little bit more comfortable the fact that the pilot's 58 than 23, right? Would you agree? Like, if I see the 23-year-old walking through the airport, I'm like, I hope he's not going on my plane, right? But if I see the 58-year-old, I'm thinking he's been battle-scarred, he's probably been through a few storms and a few engine failures and all of that type of shit, and he's going to know how to kind of navigate my next, I don't know, like violent turbulence or whatever. But it's not always true, right? Just because he's experienced it doesn't mean he's better. He could actually be lazy. And I think this is something to navigate through, that it does and will take persuasion, that we have to be very, very careful of how we did it when we were trying to get a young physio to come in. And what we would say is modern techniques. This guy, like, things have changed over the years. This is the modern way of doing things. Yeah, he might be fresh out of college, but he's brought to our clinic a modern way of practicing now. And actually, the 28-year-old has been brought in to modernize this clinic. So the goal in the game is to make the physio that you've got younger appear. Now, this is going to be hard for the more experienced physio, because this just won't sit well with the ego of the more experienced physio, that the younger one has been brought in to modernise the clinic. But other ways we used to do it were quite simply, even when I was in the business, the way I got people off my calendar was Paul's mum prefers Johnny, right? So we used to tell the patients, oh, don't worry about that. Paul's mum doesn't even see him anymore. Paul's mum wants to see Johnny, the younger physio, because he's got a more modern approach. He's much more effective with these modern techniques. So we just lend into the idea that it wasn't new, or they weren't new, they were modern. And that's a much better word that you use, not new, because new is like, oh, new's cool if it's a car, but new is not cool if it's a surgeon. Hey, do you want to meet our brand new heart surgeon? You're his first one, Jay. You're the first one. Like, congratulations. Like, this is a monumental day for this guy. You know, his family are at home waiting for the phone call to make sure that he didn't kill anybody on the first surgery. So don't worry, Jay. He's very excited to get started with you. Like, it's not going to work, is it? But hey, do you want to meet our new modern surgeon? He's brought a modern approach to surgery, or to PT, or to dentistry. And that's a much nicer thing for people to lean into as well. So you're going to have to manage the ego of the 58-year-old. And the way that we would do that, or the older person, the way that we would do that is with a 28-year-old not being new, but being modern. Modern, not necessarily new. So as we bring in new members of staff, we've always got to factor that in, that the energy of that member of staff, or the sort of, you know, the fact that they are fresh out of college, it could be a negative to some people. And I would maybe say some version of, I can see why you would think like that, but what I want to point out is the modern approach this person will bring to your back pain. You know, some of these techniques have been around for a few years. There's a fresh approach now. Sally's been with us for 6 months. She's amazing. Patients love her. In fact, Paul's mum wouldn't even see Paul anymore. She would rather see our new modern physio, particularly when it comes to back pain or whatever it is that you've got. And again, I think there's a leadership discussion here, much like in the last one. Everything that you do in business is about leadership, and what's your stance? And this is what I hope people take from me. Left or right, up or down, wherever you're from, like whatever your political view, religious, whatever, right? Like, that's not what this is about, right? What unites us, I believe, and I hope for this podcast, is what I want from you is to feel good about yourself more often. Because I'm conscious this world will pull you apart, and it will absolutely destroy you if you're not careful. So not going or going to Cracker Barrel and forcing, it's nothing to do with Cracker Barrel. No, like none of us, and if you are, like, they're fine, right? I'm sure there's multiple versions. People have issues with Chick-fil-A and all sorts of stuff, and I get it, right? I get that. But what I want for you as you listen to this, and hopefully you get closer to me and what we do, that you feel better about yourself more often, and you feel good about yourself, and you're not getting sliced in two by the world and all of the madness and the opinions and people's beliefs that might be different to yours. And let's try and find a way to coexist. But what we're not going to do is compromise. Under any circumstances, we are not compromising. If that's what you want and that's what you believe, that's what you do. And by the way, if you wholeheartedly can't stomach Cracker Barrel, then don't fucking go. Like, don't, if it's the other way around, don't go. My response, though, was, how would both parties behave when it happens? That's what would tell me more about the individuals. It wasn't a conversation about Cracker Barrel, and this isn't a conversation about experience or not experience. It is a leadership conversation, and this is a, how do you run your business so that you feel better for yourself, so that you go home on a night and you don't start to say, I feel good because we got 16 patients, or I feel good because I've got 10 grand in the bank, or I feel good because I finally found a PT after 18 months of looking. These are all constantly moving parts, right? That some weeks you're going to make less money, some weeks you're going to have more patients, some weeks you're going to have less patients, some weeks you'll have 10 grand in the bank, some week you'll probably have a line of credit that you'll need to dip into. So we can't attach any self-worth to any of these things, these like external things. What we need to build is character and confidence in self and belief in self, so that you go home on a night and you go, do you know what? I might not have got the money I want in my bank today, but I also know that that's fluid and it moves. But what I did do today, I stayed true to who I am. And that's what this is about. Always has been for me. Was my story and journey, that it was about going home on a night saying, did Paul stay true to who he is today? Yes. Cool. Now, has he got any money? Okay, let's figure that out. Now, did he get his patients? I don't know. Let's take a look at that. But if he went home on a night and he had the patients, but he felt like he sacrificed a piece of himself and he compromised a piece of himself, Well, all the money in the world ain't going to make up for that. So I went down that path very, very early, 10, 12, 15 years ago in business. And it was remarkable for me because it changed everything, and it changed who worked for me, and it changed who wanted to work for me and who wanted to hang around and who didn't, by the way. Who didn't? Because that somebody who's listening to that, well, I don't want to work for Paul. He might take me to Cracker Barrel for fucking dinner. Well, don't fucking come. I would take the team just to see where they're all at, just to upset the apple cart and figure out who's on my team and who's going to cause a fucking fire in an empty house, basically. Or who can handle a little bit of, like, this is a little bit different, or we are different, or whatever. So as we work on you listening to this and we get into these situations, in the end, it's about you going home and going, I feel better today. I feel better about myself today. Nothing else. And we start every conversation. Did I stay true to myself? Because I'm not compromising. Because the world has done a number on you with that shit as well, that you have to compromise and you have to sacrifice and you have to give up and you have to agree to disagree. No, you don't have to agree to disagree. You don't fucking do any of that shit. This is what I'm doing. This is where we're going. This is how you don't want it done. That's absolutely fine. But what you can't do, and this is where the majority of the world are struggling with it, they're saying all this shit through Instagram and through TikTok, and they think that a new white set of teeth or a new bit of Botox or a new haircut or a watch that they couldn't afford flashed on the Instagram gives them the right to live how they want. And what they're going to find out very quickly is very few people are going to respond nicely or in any way, shape or form to somebody who isn't achieving anything except having a new white set of teeth that they've put on a credit card. You do have to bring some value to the world to be able to live with a level of certainty to feel better about yourself. It's just the way it works. That the majority of these influencers and people on just generally in the world, they're getting angry because nothing's happening for them. And they're getting stronger opinions about things. And they're almost agreeing or disagreeing with people on purpose to prove a point. And they're being quite obnoxious about things. And it's not coming from a place of purity or stability or confidence. And what they're finding is the world's not moving to their tune because of that, because they don't bring anything to it. There isn't any real commercial skills. There's no real energy being brought to anything. There's just an opinion on something shared on Facebook with a new set of teeth, right? That's kind of where the world is. So these people are getting angry and angry and angry about the fact that the world isn't moving to their tune. Well, what I'm advocating is that you commit to real skills that the world appreciates and energy and taking responsibility and taking and managing risk and creating really good things that impact people, none better than patients of a physio clinic and whatever else you're going to go on to achieve after that. And once you start to get those skills, you can start to say, I'm working exclusively or simultaneously on my skills and my business and commercial skills, but I'm also working exclusively or simultaneously on my I don't give a fuck skills. Because if I just go all in on not giving a fuck, I probably won't get much, right? I won't in life. And if I just go all in on my commercial skills and I keep giving a fuck about everything, I won't get anywhere either. So if I commit to business and commercial skills and adding value and creating value, as well as simultaneously not giving a fuck what anybody thinks, trust me, the world will move with you. It will dance to your fucking tune when you have the business and commercial and marketing and value-based skills. It will dance to you. And you will go home on a night and you'll be able to go, I don't give a fuck what somebody thinks about my opinion on Musk or Cunningham or Trump or Biden or whoever. And if we want to go for a meal, you announce the meal and that's where it's at. And if two people don't like it, two people don't come. But you've got to do both. You've got to work on your value and the things that you bring to the world. And equally, you've got to work on the, and I don't give a fuck what you think. If it's just I don't give a fuck, you are probably going to become an influencer online, spouting that you don't give a shit and nothing's really happening in your life. And people ain't going to, they're just not going to buy into it. But you go and create some value. And anybody listening to this podcast building a PT clinic and serving hundreds and thousands of people, you're bringing value, dude. Keep working on that commercial ability and marketing skills and business skills and keep employing people and keep taking risks and do all of the things that majority of the world don't want to do. You're slowly but surely every day earning the right to go, I don't give a fuck about your opinion on this or that. The world will always recognize and dance to the tune of people who provide value and have got good commercial and business skills activity. The ones who you are seeing with the edge and the seriousness and the kind of attitude on Instagram, It isn't really working for them. It's because they've failed to commit to anything valuable other than having an opinion on Facebook and a new white set of teeth. They're not doing anything. They're not producing anything. They're not adding real value to the world. They're sucking people in, but they're not really producing anything. And I think that's where this is going wrong for a lot of people. So, again, whatever situation happens inside of these businesses, it'll always test your leadership. It'll test how do you feel about yourself in that moment. If you feel weak and insecure, you let the inmates run the asylum and you'll all be going for meals in different places to keep everybody happy. And that's just going to be a head fuck for you. Or if you go, actually, the whole point of this is for me to go home on a night and feel proud of how I run the business, in spite of the fact that one or two people might have chosen to take offense. I guarantee you there's going to be a lot more energy that lasts a lot longer for you living like that. So it's totally up to you what you want to do, but that's been my experience. And all I do on these podcasts is share a lot of this, what I watch and what I see and what I've been through. And I see a lot of angry people because nothing's happening for them, despite having a big obnoxious opinion on something. And the primary reason is it's built on nothing. The world will tell you to go fuck yourself if you've got no skills. You get some skills, it'll kiss your ass. It's as simple as that. Simple as that. It will kiss your ass if you've got the commercial awareness and savviness and business building skills and just value building skills. It kisses your ass and it lets you say what the fuck you want to say. And you will still make progress in life. You don't go and get those skills and you don't add that value. It does not literally nothing happens, and you just get more and more frustrated about why having a stronger and stronger opinion about something, nothing's happening for you. So choose wisely. There we go. All right, happy? Do you think we'll get an email on that one? We might get an email. Send us an email if you're not happy. If you took offense to that one, please send us an email. It's do not reply or no reply at paulgough.com. There would be the address to send it to. No, I would. I'd leave the email in the inbox unread, but I'm sure my staff would be happy to read it. So there we go. Anyway, thank you for listening. We love you, and wherever you are listening to this, we thank you. And like I said, we're making real inroads around the world in some wonderful countries. You're all welcome, and we appreciate you and thank you. And take nothing that I say to heart, and I always leave with that and kind of hope you do. Everything is designed to push you, and it's designed to get you to think differently, and it's designed to challenge you and maybe, irritate you a little and shock the nervous system about things. Because if you're listening to a business growth podcast and you want to develop skills and leadership skills and thought leadership, you ain't going to get it from hearing something that you already agree with, because that's got you to where you are today. And if you're kind of itchy for that next step, which is what this community and podcast and everything we do is all about, then I hope I am going to irritate you at some point and make you feel a little uncomfortable with some of these discussions. But if we can get you to that goal of feeling better about yourself on a night and how you've built your business and how you've built your family, and there will be a few soldiers that don't survive the war. It's as simple as that. And that's code for a few friends and family and colleagues who just don't come along on the journey with you. And that's absolutely brilliant. That should be happening more and more to you if you are growing in every area of your life. All right. Last and final thing, PPM Live tomorrow. PPMLive26.com. Head over there. You'll be able to opt in. We've got 10 free hotel rooms. If you are a brand new Planet Paul listener, guest to PPM Live, you can get a free hotel room with your ticket if you are one of the first 10. The page will tell you how many hotels are left. Goes on sale tomorrow, August 14. We've got room for 250, and we sell out every single year without fail. See you very soon. Thanks, guys.